Hanukkah has begun, and it's an 8-day celebration that has a rich history. Joining us now to share more is Rabbi Mendel Greisman. Thanks for being here. We always appreciate you coming on this time of year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here and educate.
Yes. So let's do just that. Educate us on the history maybe of Hanukkah, when it began and how you celebrate today.
So the holiday of Hanukkah began a little over 2,100 years ago in Jerusalem when the land was invaded by the invading Greek army, a Greek empire who was then in control of most of the area, and they oppressed the Jews because they didn't like the idea of their faith and commitment to God that superseded rationale and logic, and they were completely devoted to God. They didn't like that, and first they started with minor decrees stopping them from little things, but eventually they realized the Jews were so committed to their faith, and they went on a full-out war, which had no chance naturally. But a small group of devoted Jews called the Maccabees went, and despite all odds and defying all logic, they went and fought because that's what they had to do. And miraculously they won and liberated the Holy Temple, which was completely defiled and desecrated by the Greeks. And one of the most important observances we do in the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, we did for many, many hundreds of years, was to light the menorah each evening, which uses a specific type of olive oil. And they ruined all the oils, and it was only enough for one night. And they lit it, and it miraculously lasted for 8 days. That was one of the greatest miracles God has done for us in that era. And to remember that miracle, we light the menorah 8 nights. We start with 1 candle each night, and then we go forward, increasing 2, 3. We actually start from this side, so it'll be 1, 2, 3. We could add, so we increase the light every night. Hanukkah started last night, was the first candle, and tonight before sunset we will light the second candle and go on until Thursday night. The way it's celebrated here in Northwest Arkansas, last night we kicked off the holiday in Bentonville. We had a huge, what we call the Rally of Light, because this year that's what we need. We need a lot of light and goodness in the world, and it was a huge event. Thank God over probably 150, 200 people were out there to celebrate. And we will do another great celebration on the Fayetteville Square on the last night of Hanukkah.
Okay, so you kicked off with the first night in Bentonville. You'll end with the last night here in Fayetteville.
Correct.
You mentioned 8 nights, but I noticed there's one other piece of the menorah that's right there in the middle. What does that signify?
Exactly. So this candle is what we call the shamash, which is literally the server, or more importantly, the one that ignites all the other flames. So we take a candle in our hand, we'll say the blessings, light candle 1, put the shamash here. The next night we will do the same thing and light 2 candles and go here, and so on. And there's actually a beautiful message in the shamash, which is relevant to everyone listening, whether or not they're Jewish and observe Hanukkah in their home, because the message of Hanukkah really is out there for everyone. Because Hanukkah was the holiday, when it was established, there were a couple of options how to do it. Some said you could light 1 candle and that's sufficient. And some said, well, if you want to do it better, you should light 1 per person. And then they said, well, if you want to do it in the best possible way, you should constantly increase in light. And start with 1 and go on up until the 8th night. And today, there isn't a single Jew I know who lights just 1 candle on Hanukkah. Everybody increases in light. Because that message of increasing in light is so relevant in our times.
Yes, absolutely. And it's the festival of lights. It's a celebration of light, the whole event, right? And speaking of that, give us those details again on the Fayetteville Square. You're going to be doing the event on the final night of Hanukkah. When and where is that happening?
It's a Thursday, the 14th at 5 o'clock, right in front of the town center. We have a huge menorah displayed there. You've seen some of the
I've seen the one here in Fayetteville.
Correct.
Yeah.
And this year we have also a beautiful menorah on the University of Arkansas campus, bringing that message to the campus community. You know, the American campuses need to hear this idea that that goodness and light cannot be silent. Just like the shamash, his job is to spread light and ignite all the candles. Each of us needs to be that shamash. Don't keep your light hidden in your home. Don't keep your faith. Don't keep your goodness quiet, because what's happening today is the evil sides are loud, and the flames of light and faith are scared. They're in their homes. We got to bring them out to the open, ignite light, spread light, and if each of us becomes an ambassador of light, the world will turn into a rally of light.
Yes,
that's an amazing message.
Absolutely, great. Thank you, Rabbi Greisman, for joining us, filling us in great history here on the celebration and also on the menorah. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
For sure. Stay with us because
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. Stay with